By now, everybody should be aware of what transcribed in South London yesterday when two Nigerian men of British descent who are Muslims attacked and slaughtered a British soldier who apparently was on leave or outside of his barracks, and he was first struck. These two assailants apparently were in a car and hit him, knocking him down, knocking him unconscious, and then proceeded to slaughter him. And at the core, well, first of all, before I go into further, I send my condolences to the family of this fallen soldier and to the tragedy. An English fellow in his own country killed by aliens. They are these people that are of Nigerian descent. I don't care if they are born in London or in England. They are not English. They are Muslim, and they are not native to that area. The problem is the religion itself of Islam. And I've done a bit of a study on this. Now, it's interesting to note that in Japan does not allow Muslims to come into their country. There are some Muslims there, but it's highly restricted. And the reason is because when you allow these people into your country, you are basically committing national suicide. And we have the problem in the United States. The problem exists in Canada, but to a smaller scale, of course. The problem exists in France, in Germany, anywhere that you allow Muslims to come into your country, then you are committing national suicide. Your society will be destroyed. Your people will be victimized and preyed upon and assaulted, slaughtered. I feel absolute sympathy for this poor fella. He's probably had the day off. He's out walking around his home country, his home city of London, and is attacked and slaughtered by two animals. That's the only way you can describe the assault. One of the perpetrators is on film with bloodied hands, a meat cleaver in his hand, shortly after he slaughtered this English lad. And he's boasting about why he killed. And so both of these perpetrators, these Muslims, are in the hospital because when the police arrived on the scene, apparently they tried to assault the police, and the police rightfully defended themselves. In my opinion, like I said, you are committing national suicide by allowing these people into your country. They cannot coexist with your natural, English people. It'd be different if Americans had gone to England and taken up residence in England. That's not a threat to your society, because American society is so very similar to English society. Our origin, our nationality, our ancestors, many of us came from England, or Scotland, or Ireland, or Wales. Many came from France. They can cohabitate together without slaughtering one another. These boys, these black Muslims, were out to slaughter an English soldier. Well, today it's an English soldier, tomorrow it's going to be your daughter, or your son, or your mayor of your city. because you have allowed animals, vicious animals, to come into your society. Nigerians, they don't even respect their own lives of their own people in Nigeria. What makes anybody think that they will respect the lives of the host country that allowed them to come in as refugees? It's a hard thing to deal with, because in English society, as well as the United States and Canada, France and Germany, generally the people are not like these vicious animals. But you have to draw the line as to who you allow into your country. And I'm not just addressing the English. Don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing the English. I'm criticizing their political leaders, the liberals, the leftists. What you now have is the body of an honorable English soldier laying in the streets of London, his own country. His ancestors were from there. And his body is laying in the streets of London. It tears me up, because I wish I could smack every politician and every government bureaucrat who is responsible for allowing these people to immigrate to countries like England, United States, Canada, France, Germany, and any other country that permits them to come in. I wish I could smack them all, or better yet, take their children and make them live in these neighborhoods where these Muslims are living. And then when their children, the bureaucrats and politicians' children, are slaughtered in the streets of London, then maybe the politicians and the bureaucrats will get it in their thick skulls that you not everybody on the planet is peace-loving, no matter how friendly and nice you want to be to them. And it's happening in the United States too, so it's not just England. You cannot reach out your hand in friendship to these people. They will cut your hand off. And the sooner that people learn to realize that, the safer your society will be. Now, what's the answer? Okay, you got second-generation people in your country and in my country. Well, this lad, this black Nigerian fella, was second generation, so he was born in England, but he's a convert to Islam. So obviously his mother and father were, I'm just speculating, were Muslims. The answer is you've got to round these people up and get them out of your country, because the war between Islam and the rest of the world is now on the streets of London, it's on the streets of Boston, New York, Chicago, it's on the streets of Paris and Berlin. And for the survival of the people, the host country, you've got to get these people out, because they are conspiring to take over your country. I saw a videotape of English Muslims. They were Arabs, and they were boasting about how they were going to take over Buckingham Palace. And the news reporter asked the Muslim, well, what's the Queen going to do? You say you're going to take over Buckingham Palace and turn it into a mosque. And the response from the Arab was, well, she's just going to have to get out and leave. So you see, you extend a hand of compassion and allow these people to come into your country, and now, 1 or 2 generations later, they're taking over your country. They're slaughtering your people in your very own streets, and then boasting about it with their bloodied hands in front of the news media. The war is upon us, and it is in our streets because of the weak and pussy politicians and bureaucrats. These people are using your constitutional rights against you. In the United States, there's freedom of speech, freedom of religion, But yet, when you have a religion like Islam that comes into your country, the whole basis of their religion is denying everybody else on the planet their rights to freedom of religion. So therefore, you have to draw the line and say, okay, if you are coming here and you're planning to take over our country, you will be exiled, deported. Send them anywhere. Send them back to Africa. Send them back to Nigeria. But you cannot allow this infestation, this cancer, to spread into civilized societies like English society, French society, German, American, and Canadian society. And it may not be happening to a great extent in Canada, but the next generation is the one you have to watch out for, because at the very core of the threat is the religion of Islam itself. And to the English Defence League, which is in England, they are the people who realize the threat, and they are responding, and I'm hoping that the English people will rally behind and rally with the English Defence League, because that's the only hope you've got. Because the politicians are just going to sit back in their nice, safe homes, protected by personal security and private security, and you're going to have continued assaults and slaughter that occurred to this poor English lad that was serving his country in the military. And you're going to have scumbag animals from Nigeria or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or wherever they happen to hail from. You're going to have them preying upon your population. To my brothers and sisters with the English Defence League, I commend you. Keep up the fight. And may God be with you.